Well, my leaving Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the year of 1999 to 200 was a rough, tumultuous one. But it had started long before then, before I was caught up, when I was caught up between the earth and the sun, after telling that minister, when I get ready for God, that he would be the first to know. Now, through a due process of time, threats on my life, or threatened to send me to prison for something that I was not guilty of, acted out by the Antichrist, I finally end up fleeing the city of Pine Bluff, going to Danville, Illinois, and from that, driven out into the wilderness, sleep with the wild beasts for 6 days, and found out I couldn't survive without food and water. I couldn't survive because there was nothing out there to eat. I couldn't see how the animals, you know, survived out there. As I watched this deer go to the feed with the cow, and this day they would go up there and steal. She would go up there and steal food because she looked like she was with uh, kids when she would go in. And my mindset was to go up there behind her different places up there after she go up there to eat where the cows be out there. I was gonna go up there and try to get me some grain and eat some grain up there too without spooking her or the cows. Because I was at my lowest point in my life once I was driven there. Well, leading up to that part, God gave me a vision of me going there when I spoke to you about the cloud that was chasing me out of the west, and I fled to the east after growing wings. I was going back into the cloud. This was that part. What I saw then was the wealthiest peoples of the earth hiding behind the black cloud, which was the white hands hiding in the cloud. As we know, the world knows that America is dominated by a white origin of peoples of the rich men. They did this from the foundation of the world, set standards and barriers and laws, rules, and regulations to govern in somewhat through this law of democracy to place them at the head. As a safety net or safety valve, they create angels to serve them to see that they stay afloat. This is what is spoken of in the Bible when you talk about the little fox tearing down the tender roots of the tree, of the vine. And once he tear down those tender roots, and when you know it, the vine of the vineyard withers and die or they fall down. So this is what we see, but we don't understand what we're seeing because it's did so clever until we just said, no, this is not happening, even though we see these things. And when what we know is the infrastructure of our race continue to dwindle while the infrastructure of their race continue to explode and overpopulate the earth. In other words, what it does, it destroys the integrity of the mindset of our people where we cannot we will not be able to govern for ourselves, but we will always become dependent on that rich man and his ways and his policies. In doing so, we become victimized in somewhat through drugs, religion, freedom of speech, and all these which pertain to the law of democracy. By us not having a being like as a shadow on the wall, we be a part of the system, but yet we are not a part of the system when we go in as voters in the congregation of the democratized system, but by we being a minority in there, we becomes as a shadow on the wall of he who do vote the laws and rules and regulations in on our behalf. We go in, we raise our hands just like he do. We take the pen and we write certain laws in, but when we come out of the chambers of our system of democracy, there's only one vote counted. We vote like the man, we act like the man, we did like the man, but when the end of the day is completed, we are not the man and we are not the law, we are not the embodiment of the rules and regulations which govern our lives here in the United States of America. So therefore, the voice of justice for us continue to go unheard and unnoticed. This is why the rich man, who is the mindset and the law, rules, and the regulation of the rich man, which is the white man, and I have to say it over and over, it sounds like a racist tone, but it's not, overtone, but it's not. We become as he is, but we are not as he is. End of the day, the laws are set in place to keep him ruler over us. Well, this episode in my life that I have showed you, it was an example of God revealing to me what was happening to our peoples and myself. They come in when we gain some parts of the resources here in the United States of America. They come in and they are placed in their heart to make it look and seem as if they're supposed to take it back. It doesn't matter how it is. They got so many loopholes to take it back. They can fabricate a lie on you and pretend that you've done a crime that you're not. And then they can come and take that resource back what they gave you under the law of justice. This is what was happening to me at that point. And I didn't know what was happening, but my wife had told me they had went and built a case against me to send me to prisons because they was not going to investigate a Negro. I use other words, more strong words than that. But what I said to her, I said, how in the world you could do this? How did you go? All I did was try to take care of your children. Because the condition that I grew up in as a child and the hardship looking at my mother when she was in her worst condition, when she had to work in the fields, pick cotton, scrapping that they had to left from behind the Mexicans. And they got the first pick. We got the second pick sometimes. Sometimes we got the first pick, but the worst of the time when the condition in the wintertime got cold and they had to hurry and get their field. Like they brought the Mexicans in and picked the first pick, but the black people had to pick the last pick. I snapped it, what we call scrapping cat. And my mother's hand used to burst open and bleed out there in the bras. All of these things. I looked at these conditions, and when she taken and she lost her faith through the way because of her struggle, because she felt that she was obligated to spend her money with that man and no results, and then her son fell in that coals of fire and began to burn, and my sister got it out. Well, at the end of the day, she punished my sister, and that's when I made a promise with God. But when I came down to the final line where I couldn't turn back and I was sent down by God, I became addicted to cocaine because of the transgression I did when I told that man, when I get ready for God, he'd be the first to know. But my transgression was, I forgot all about God once I got to done with. And God had to bring me through this point in my life to remind me that he was still there and that my promise to him should go forward because I'm the one that made it to